a video that I'm going to make here. And today we're going to use mind map, which I've been using quite a bit for teaching offline and also just organizing my thoughts. And today we're going to discuss the Weight Loss Awakening program so that you have a clear understanding of things from using the mind map. So we're going to go through the 4 pillars of nutrition: mental state, environmental influences, nutrition, movement, mechanics, and we've reviewed all 4 of these in the past. And today we'll go through each one of them so that we can have a clear understanding, and so you can really put it all in a framework so you can understand it. So let's jump right in to mental state, and then we'll work our way down to movement and mechanics. Now, each one of these categories deserves more than just this video. Obviously, I'll be discussing a lot of these things because this encompasses my healthcare educational model, so to speak. And you'll see things here that I've discussed before, but I'm hoping this will put it into a framework so you have a better, clear conception of what this is about. So let's talk about the breakdown of the mental state portion of the pillars of health. Let's talk about the emergency state. The emergency state is basically when your system, your sympathetic nervous system, is overactivated. So when you get cut off in traffic, or when you drop a glass and you go, that sort of thing, that is nervous system overactivation. When that happens, your body releases all kinds of chemicals and hormones to be able to get ready for a fight. And my teacher, Dr. Gerald Epstein, calls this the false emergency state. And the false emergency state is basically when you're acting as if it's an emergency when it's not. And when we are chronically overstimulating that, then, and you're not actually expending the chemical energy, the hormonal energy that your body's just released, that causes cells in your body to be overstimulated, and that causes them to do things they're not supposed to. And this is one of the causes of disease. So when we constantly are not, one of the things that we want to do is we want to recognize that it's a false emergency. And as a result of recognizing the false emergency, over time, you're able to recognize that this is not a real emergency, because 99% of the time it's not a real emergency, and you can stop your body from this chronic, what we call sympathetic nervous system overactivation. Okay, now, obviously I can do an entire video on that, but we want to get through the entire mind map so that you understand things. Next is the parasympathetic nervous system. That's your rest and recharge system. And this is something I teach my patients to, we all have these cycles in our body. For example, you go to sleep at night and you're awake during the day, you eat, and then you don't eat, all these different cycles. One of them is this parasympathetic nervous system. And just getting sleep at night is really not enough. You need 20 minutes per day of activation of the parasympathetic nervous system. You can do this through bathing, taking a hot bath. You can do it through doing breathing. One way of doing breathing is what's called the century count. And you basically close your eyes and you count your breaths up to 100. See if you can get to 100. When you can get to 100, that's really a remarkable achievement. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but what you do is you just close your eyes, you take a breath, you count 1 in your mind, 2, and then each breath you count. And remarkably, by the time you get to 20, usually you've forgotten how to count when you start doing this. So getting to 100 is actually very challenging. There's a 4-7-8 breathing method. This is basically, I'll probably do another video on this, but yeah, I'll do another video on that. But this is a breathing technique that you can use to just doing 4 cycles of this is really quite helpful. But I'll do another video on that. Qigong is another thing that you can do, or yoga or prayer. Just reading Psalms for some people is very, very, it can really sort of make you feel connected and calm your body. So these are what you can pick one of these things or more. Certainly if you add these on a daily basis, more than one, obviously you're going to get better effect, because when you activate this parasympathetic nervous system, you're resting, you're recharging, and you're putting your body into a state where it is relaxed. If the sympathetic nervous system, which is activated over here, is too much, then you are taxing your adrenal glands, and your body can be in a store fat mode. Mental imagery, which is something that was taught to me by my teacher, Dr. Joel Epstein, is also something that you can use, and I'll teach that in another video. That certainly deserves its own video. Moving on to the next pillar, environmental influences, we'll talk about 5 different categories. First is basically toxins. So the toxins that can affect your weight are basically BPA, which is found in a lot of plastics, and phthalates. And the reason to avoid these is, like I said, they've been shown to contribute to fat. This is estrogen-like, and this one actually blocks androgens. But the important thing to remember is both of these, which can be found in different plastics. BPA is also found in receipts. You can do a Google search on that to learn more, or I'll probably do another video. But these interfere with your hormonal balance, and when your hormonal balance is out of whack, I should say, then you are more prone to having weight trouble. Obviously, getting good air is important. If you live in an area where the air is bad, you should really pay attention to that. You can get air filters in your apartment. In Japan, when you travel, you often see in hotel rooms they actually have air filtering devices. You want to make sure your water is clean, obviously. You can do mineral water or reverse osmosis, but if you do that, you should add minerals. Pay attention to sound. Chronic sound can actually cause stress, which can activate your nervous system in a negative way. And then light. You should avoid blue light avoidance, meaning all computer screens up to 2 hours before you go to sleep, because this can affect your cycles, your sleep cycles, which can cause activation up here again of your sympathetic nervous system. So these are very directly related. As far as light goes, also you want to make sure you get a little bit of direct sun with your glasses off for part of the day. The reason is because you have all these receptors in the back of your retina, and you want to activate those because they also affect the rhythms of your body. And again, if they are not activated properly, this nervous system is not going to be balanced. I'm going a little fast here, but want to get through the entire thing in a sort of succinct fashion. And many of you have already been watching these and talking to me on the phone. They're basically divided into additions and subtractions. We talk about if you're looking for a solution, then the 1 carb per meal rule is basically what you want to do to get instant weight loss, and that is just choosing 1 carbohydrate per meal. That means choosing only 1 per meal. So sweet potato, white rice, traditional sourdough, or pressure-cooked beans, that would be your 1 carb per meal. Of course, when it comes to pressure-cooked beans, you probably could eat more than 1 serving, and you're going to be fine. Other things that you should consider to be carbs, well, obviously fruit is a carb. Alcohol is not precisely a carbohydrate, but we're going to consider it that in this case. So that means, again, we're choosing 1 carbohydrate per meal. If you want to have 1 glass of wine or 1 mixed drink, then you would have to drop the other carbs in the meal. So it would be a carb-free meal with the exception of the drink. If you have a sweet potato, then you can't have a drink. If you have a bowl of fruit for dessert, then you can't have the sweet potato during the meal. So just choose 1 for the meal. If you want to have a sourdough roll, traditional sourdough roll, then you can't have alcohol, fruit, sweet potato, or any of the others. If you do that, you'll get a decent amount of weight loss. So you'll want to increase the veggies basically in that meal. We're not going to count vegetables as a carbohydrate, in this leafy vegetables as a carbohydrate, though one could consider them that. But you can eat those in an unlimited fashion. So that would be the preferable way of substituting. the carb in this case. So in other words, if you're choosing one and that's all you're eating, you're going to want to increase the vegetables, or you could potentially increase healthy fat or protein, but preferably go up the veggies and up the healthy fat would be the preferable way of going about things. Okay, so let's move on. And we have 1 pound of leafy greens per day. So 1 salad per day and some steamed leafy greens during dinner. The best way to do that is first of all, is to make sure that you're getting fat with the vegetables, because that allows you to absorb all the amazing nutrients in the greens. But if you are trying to lose weight, no more than 3 tablespoons of olive oil per day. And for your olive oil, you want to make sure it's a tinted bottle. It's a thin, tall bottle, and you buy a good brand that has won awards, especially with the California Olive Oil Council, which judges olive oils to make sure that they are pure, pristine, and are not oxidized. That's the reason why you want these two things. I have a separate video just on olive oil that you can watch to learn more. This is just a summary. Also, look into balsamic vinegar or flavored vinegars. They can really add to the enjoyment. You certainly don't want to use something like a ranch or bottled dressing, because those have rancid fats in them. And then some steamed greens during dinner with a little drizzle of olive oil, or even a little bit of high quality butter. Tiny bit of butter would be okay. You want to make sure that you're enjoying everything, and a little tiny bit of butter is not going to do any damage to you, and it's going to enhance the flavor so much. I'm not a big fan of butter just personally myself, but it would be okay. I love olive oil, high quality olive oil, and just drizzle a little bit on, and with a little garlic, and it is yummy. 1 handful of raw nuts per day. Acceptable nuts are macadamias, almonds, pecans, Brazil nuts, and walnuts, soaked overnight, and that makes them much more digestible. Avoid peanuts and cashews. Peanuts for reasons, toxins. Cashews can be cashews are, for some people, do not tolerate well, and they also are not favorable from a fat to carbohydrate ratio. Next is 1 miracle noodle meal per day. So you can, in addition to the carbohydrate, the 1 carb per meal, just so you're not feeling deprived, then add 1 miracle noodle meal per day to fill up the feeling of carbohydrates. Hydration is really important, so I do recommend herbal teas for hydration. I happen to like Gynostema tea, because that can activate certain biological pathways in your body that contribute to evening out blood sugar, and but any herbal teas, because they also give you a sensation of taste and can help with hunger. And I recommend, if you can get it in there, I should probably put optional after this, is 2 tablespoons of flaxseed per day. This is a good fiber source and has a whole host of benefits. You can't do flaxseed oil. Don't recommend flaxseed oil. This is mainly for the fiber, but of course you're getting omega-3s as well. All right, moving right along. Again, I'm just trying to do this relatively quick. No seed oils, no sunflower, safflower, corn, canola, or grapeseed. Those are almost always rancid. Obviously, if you could find one that is definitely not rancid. I did meet a company once at a food show that had sunflower oil that sounded like it was pure, but there are other reasons to avoid these, because they have a very high ratio of omega-6 fats, more than you actually need. Not that there's anything wrong with omega-6 fats. You do need them. You just need them in a smaller amount than we're getting them, and you need them pure and undamaged. And you get them when you add a handful of raw nuts to your diet every day. You're getting them, and these are great for your skin. These are the fats that form the outer oil barrier of your skin, so really, really great for you. Of course, no sugar, no artificial sweeteners. All right, moving right along with this executive summary, so to speak, that I hope you're enjoying, is movement and mechanics. They're our goal here is 7 to 10,000 steps per day. But I want you to understand that when it comes to movement and mechanics or exercise, there are really 4 divisions. There's flexibility exercises, there's lifting, and there's sprints. And I got this really remarkable summary and characterization of movement and exercise from Mark Sisson of the Mark's Daily Apple, which is a paleo website. I don't agree with everything necessarily on that page, but there's no question that Mark Sisson is a very smart guy who's thought very deeply about a diet and exercise. Also, there are other things that we could, that we could add here, like posture and such, but they're not going to have that are important just for overall health. But if you are just starting out, honestly, 7 to 10,000 steps per day, if you can just get that in, that's going to make so much. It's going to make so much of an effect, not just in your overall health, but also in your blood sugar stabilization. That it's going to have an impact on, especially if your blood sugar is going up and down. It's going to have an impact on your cravings because your blood sugar will be more steady. It'll have an impact on your weight, because not only because of the calories that you're going to use up, but also again because of the stabilization of your blood sugar. Of course, I'll go into all of these things with a little bit more detail. I'll recommend flexibility exercises later on, but we've covered really the outline of the Weight Loss Awakening system. And obviously, if you're probably watching this in my Facebook group, if you're not, go to Facebook and type in Weight Loss Awakening and join my group. It's free. And I look forward to getting to know you. And I hope you enjoyed this summary that I enjoyed recording. Have a great day.